On Used Bike Heaven this week, we're with Peter and Jan Lissaman, who are looking for a used sports tourer, and we have 3 of the best on test. Also this week, we'll be with Gary to get some trade tips, another used bike bargain, and some more advice from me for those looking to buy a used machine. This is Peter and Jan Lissaman from Nuneaton near Coventry. Peter and Jan have been together for 31 years and Peter has been riding bikes even longer. Peter is a director of an engineering company and Jan is a travel administrator for the Camping and Caravanning Club. They're looking for a sports tourer to tackle Europe on. And this week we've chosen 3 of the very best for them to try.
Well, welcome to the show, and with me I have Jan and Pete. Now, you've got a Thundercat at the minute, haven't you? Mm-hmm. So, are you looking to swap?
We've had the Thundercat for 4 years,
Uh-huh.
3.5 years,
Yeah.
and we just fancy a little bit of a change. Something
Yeah.
with a little bit more CCs, I think.
Right. Now, you do a lot of touring, don't you?
Yeah.
We've done
Where'd
quite
you
a
go?
bit, yeah. We went to Holland last year. We're thinking of going to France maybe in the summer.
In the summer, yeah.
And if you had a more toury style bike, you'd probably do more miles.
Yeah, something a little bit more comfortable perhaps, although the Thundercat is comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we've got 3 bikes for you now. What's your budget?
About 4,500 to 5,500
Right,
maximum.
well, we've fitted within that. We've got the Honda VFR, the Ducati ST2 and the Triumph Sprint. So what do you think, first impressions then, of the 3 bikes?
Well, the Ducati's got the style, hasn't it?
Yep.
Definitely got the style.
Yep.
And I've always fancied the Ducati, I must admit. I do like the Triumph.
I like the look of the Triumph as well.
Yeah.
No, I've never ridden a V4 at all.
Yeah.
I've ridden Ducati before, but mind you, I've never ridden a 3-cylinder before either. so-
Right. Oh, fantastic. So we'd
Yes.
be interesting to know what you think about all 3
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
So before we set you off on them, we've got Richard, who is going to give you a few wise words about each of the bikes.
If you're looking for a bike to take you through the highs and lows of Europe, then one of these could well be for you. First up, we have the Ducati ST2. This bike was the first sports tourer from Ducati. The ST2's comfort, sweet handling and Italian styling combined to deliver a beauty of a bike. The 83 brake horsepower 2-valve V-twin engine is perhaps a little underpowered in this company though. This example, a 1999 model with just under 9,000 miles on the clock, is a bargain at £4,500. Next is the bike by which they are all measured in this class, Honda's legendary VFR 800i. Its 781cc fuel-injected V4 engine puts out a class-leading 107 bhp. Touring is what this bike was made for, and this shows. With its well-laid-out dash and ergonomically designed cockpit, it's plain to see why it's kept the top spot for so long. In this striking yellow with only 11,500 miles under its belt, this VFR is a steal at £5,000. And finally, Triumph's Sprint ST. Uniquely, the Triumph Triple combines the power of the 4s with the torque of the twins. This naturally makes for an easier ride. With well-designed ergonomics, this British bike pushes the limits of the Japanese tourers and shows itself well with a healthy 110 bhp. This 99 bike in a very patriotic red with just 10,500 miles is the most expensive of the 3 at £5,300.
Well, thank you very much, Richard. So, Pete and Jan, a few facts and figures there. We're going to set you off on the VFR. Keys are in it. It's a beautiful day. Go off and enjoy yourselves.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And while Pete and Jan are enjoying themselves on the VFR, here's Richard with yet another used bike.
Before the invention of the steam train, people believed that if you travelled at over about 5 miles an hour, you'd die, or your hair would fall out, or your teeth go purple, or something bad anyway. Good job then that they never had an intimate encounter with the Hayabusa. Take it straight from the crate and it can catapult you and your terrified licence all the way to 200 miles an hour, and still your teeth won't go purple. Some years after launch, it still enjoys the reputation as the daddy of them all when it comes to outright speed. You've got to ask yourself right from the start just why you want a Hayabusa. There are sharper, more nimble, comfier, nippier and certainly prettier bikes around. If you're a mad keen tourer, a daily dispatch rider, a dedicated track day fiend or a timid town commuter, then it's really not for you. But if sheer presence and a legendary ability to reach warp speeds approaching 3 times the legal limit set your knees trembling, then the Busa's the boy. In fact, despite the speed merchant rep, the Busa's a pretty docile old bus at town speeds. It's surprisingly comfortable and easy to manoeuvre, meaning you're not left looking like you're trying to wrestle a land speed record holding camel down your local high street. Good thing too, because people will notice you on the Busa. Get the thing out of town, point it down a reasonably straight stretch of road, squint your eyes, grit your teeth, check your pants and gas it, and you'll be given a reminder of what the world looks like after 18 pints of scrumpy. Kind of blurry. The acceleration never ends. It'll be going strong long after your bottle's up to left. And it's no slouch to the twisties either, capable of giving chase to many a sports tourer and most out-and-out sports bikes even, though it can't compete when the pins get really hairy. Of course, those looks are a matter of opinion. Some think it's pig ugly, others it just looks revolting. Either way, it looks the way it does, all in the name of going faster, and you don't get to be top of the tree without making a few sacrifices along the way. Top of the ugly tree, if you ask me. As a second-hand bike, it does make some sense. The odds are it's not being thrashed everywhere unless the owner commutes between Scarborough and Texas. The engine's likely to have had a fairly relaxed time. There have been problems with the rear subframes though. Be particularly aware if luggage has been fitted or if a very heavy pillion rider has been carried regularly. Perhaps ask to meet the owner's wife. If you're buying a pre-2001 bike, check to see that the speedo reads all the way around to 200 miles an hour, because it's around about this time that Brussels got involved and the bike was limited. The speedo then registered only up to 185 miles an hour. In other words, if on a pre-2001 bike it has a speedo that only reads up to 185 miles an hour, it's probably been replaced, and that could be as a result of a nasty front ender.
Well, thank you for that, Richard. And now I'm back with Pete and Jan, who've brought the VFR back. What did you think?
I loved it.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought it was really nice. It was really comfortable.
Yeah.
I like the fact that when Pete braked, I didn't feel as though I was shooting over the top of him.
Right.
It was really smooth.
Yeah.
And it was a comfortable position for me.
Right. What did you think, Pete?
It's very good, better than I thought it was going to be honest. I've never ridden a V4 before.
Yeah.
It was very comfortable, nice riding position.
What did you think to the
well.
brakes then?
The brakes I hated.
Right.
Didn't like the brakes at
Okay.
all. No confidence in the brakes whatsoever.
Is that, do you think, something to do with your Thundercat?
Yes, probably. The Thundercat's got probably some of the best brakes on bikes in the world.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, was the engine smooth?
The engine was not as smooth as I thought it was going to be by any means, but it was. You get used to it. It was certainly comfortable, powerful enough,
Right.
and it cornered very well. I was quite impressed with the handling.
And what about the riding position?
Riding position was good. Was good, very comfortable. Not so bad on the arms.
Yeah.
Quite impressed.
So all in all, we quite like it.
Not
Didn't
too
like
bad
the
at all.
sound of it though.
Didn't you?
No.
No.
What didn't you like? Was it?
Sewing
Sound
machine.
like a
Oh, was
sewing
it?
machine.
Well, funny you should say that, because we're actually going to put you on the Ducati now,
Okay.
which doesn't sound like a sewing machine. Have you ever ridden a V-twin before?
Not on the road, no.
Right. That's very reassuring. So, do you want to go and get your kit on then and take off on that?
Yes,
Come back and tell us what you think.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And while they're off playing on the Duke, here's Gaza in his workshop.
Here's something that you may come across if you do a lot of work on your own bike. This is what they call a locating dowel, and what it is, it's where two halves of a crankcase, say, or whatever, meet together. They have dowels in them so that they locate perfectly, and then you bolt them up. So how would you get rid of one of these? How would you take one out? Well, what you could do is you could get yourself a pair of grips, as we've said before, grab it there and squash it, because they are hollow. So what we're trying to do now then is we're trying to get this out without distorting it. So the easiest way to do it is find yourself something that fits nicely in there like that. Then you can get your grips, hold it at the top and just work it out. It's as easy as that. We haven't squashed it, it's perfect, and you can use it again. If you're ever doing any work on, say, the brake disc or the brake caliper, Once you undo these bolts, there's a thread lock that is put on at the factory which stops them vibrating loose. So basically when you have undone these and taken them out, you've disturbed the seal. Now what Honda or Kawasaki or whatever usually say is that you should replace the bolts with new ones because they come pre-coated with the thread lock compound. But if you work it out, there's 6 bolts there at £1.50 each. There's also 2 bolts there at probably £2 each. You're looking at about £12–13 just to replace the bolts on this side. So what I'm saying to you is the easiest thing to do is buy yourself some thread locking compound. Once you've taken the bolts out, you have to remove all the compound from the old bolt. So a wire brush will do the job nicely. You could put one in the end of your drill. Anyway, here's one of the bolts that I've cleaned up. This is actually a caliper mounting bolt that goes in there. As you can see, it's all nice and clean. We've removed all the traces of thread locking compound. So let's put some new compound on it. So we'll put the thread lock on. Now we don't have to go mad with this, just a nice, run it across, swivel the bolt round. So there's plenty of thread lock on that. This one's a blue one, it could be white, it could be green, it could be red. There we are, this one's a nice blue colour. We've coated that all the way round. All we're going to do now is insert that into there. Tighten it up, and always remember, if there is a torque wrench setting, use it. Tighten it up to the correct torque and it will never come undone. Okay, so that's fine for something that you don't want to come loose. What about something that you may take off on a regular basis, or you don't want to actually lock together, you want to be able to release it? Well, for that we will use copper slip or copper grease. Just put a light coating onto a fastener, just wipe it round, get rid of the excess, put the fastener in, tighten it up. Now that will tighten up and it will stay tight until you come to release it, but all it does, it acts as a barrier between the 2 different surfaces. So if you want to undo that on a regular basis, you can do. That's the copper grease. You can also use it on brake pads. You can put it on the back of a brake pad to stop it from squealing, so between the piston and the pad itself. So yes, it's always handy to have some copper grease or copper slip around the workshop.
So that's it for part 1. Join us in part 2 when Pete and Jan will be back with our Ducati, we hope, and we'll be sending them out on the ST Sprint. And Richard will be here with some more advice if you're thinking of dabbling in the used bike market. See you then. Welcome back to Used Bike Heaven. Now before the break, you'll remember we sent Pete and Jan out on the Ducati, and I'm pleased to say they're back and in one piece. What did you think?
I was happy to get off it.
Were you?
Yes, very pleased to get off it.
Why?
Too heavy for me, too physical, too lumpy.
Yeah.
It's not as I remember the one on the track.
Right, you prefer it on the track.
Yeah, I
then?
found it hard work to ride. Even on the open road, it wasn't as good as the VFR.
Was that at a slow speed, or was it better when it got up to speed?
When it got up to speed, it was better.
Yeah.
But in traffic, in the town, I found it hard. The clutch was very, very heavy for me.
Right.
The brakes were good.
Right, yeah, always handy.
And the sound was lovely.
Yeah.
It sounded nice. But,
yeah. And they look good, don't they? I mean,
they certainly look good, yeah.
Italian style is always good. What did you think, Jan?
It was quite comfortable, the seat was quite comfortable, but it was very sort of rattly. I don't think I'd like to travel any distance on it. I wouldn't like to go to Holland or somewhere like that on it.
Yeah. Did it vibrate quite a bit? They always seem to, yeah?
It did.
And it's not comfortable?
No. It looked nice and it sounded nice, but I didn't find it very comfortable. Yeah.
Right. So the V-twins are out then, basically.
I think so.
Certainly this V-twin is out, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, we do have an extra cylinder for you now, the ST Sprint. Have you ever ridden one of these before?
No.
Are you looking forward to it?
Yes, very much so.
Good, you look like you are. Anyway, so go off, enjoy yourselves, let us know what you think, and have a good time.
Thank you.
And be careful.
Thank you.
So while Pete and Jan are off on their 3rd and final test, here's our Dickie with some advice if you're thinking of dabbling in the used bike market.
This week's tips are not so much about buying a used bike as they are about selling one. The reason being, when you come to buy your next used bike, the odds are you'll be part exchanging your current bike. And it doesn't matter whether you save a couple of £100 here and there on the bike that you are buying if you're wasting money and losing money on the bike that you're selling. So this week's tips are looking at ways to maximise our own bike in part exchange. First things first, when you picked up at the dealership with your bike, cleanliness is everything. No, not you, you fool, the bike. Because believe it or not, and you are going to have to trust me on this, bike dealers are human too. And if they see a nice, clean, sparkling machine, they're going to be inclined to look upon it more favourably than if they see some grubby old rat that looks like it's just been dug up. There's actually a very good reason for this. They've only got a few minutes to make up their mind on giving you a price on your Part X. If it's all grubby, that could be covering all sorts of nasty problems. If it's clean, they can see what they're getting. They don't have to err on the side of caution. Now, we know from chatting to them, insider information, this could make as much difference as a couple of £100 either way on the price. And that could take a big chunk out of your insurance. So it's worth a Saturday cleaning it up. Get that bike clean. And then once you've done that, all those extra bits and pieces and goodies you've spent the last year and a half bolting on, bin them. Well, no, not bin them completely, but don't expect the dealer to jump up and down with joy when he sees every extra little bit you've added. Some are good, some are bad. Starting at the back, raised can. Well, good idea, it will make the bike go faster, but if you've got the original, bring it with you when you come to part exit, because some customers are going to be worried about MOTs and passing them. Other things like braided hosing, yeah, it will make the bike stop better, it's a good idea. But when we get down to little anodized pegs and add-on bits and pieces, even things like crash mushrooms, to be honest, they're not going to add any value, the dealer's not going to give you any more for them. If you've got the originals, take them off, save these for your next bike. Basically, use your head. If the extras are designed to make the bike better, it'll help the dealer sell it quicker. They're good news. So on a sports bike, things like dynojetting, bring evidence that it was done and done properly, good news. Other bits and pieces, you can lose them. If it's a tourer, hard luggage is going to be good. The dealer might give you more money for it. But there is one set of extras and add-ons that every dealer is going to be interested in on any bike. And it's this, a security system, because whatever the bike, tourer, sports, scooter even, anything you can do to enhance the security is going to be good news, both while you own the bike and when you come to part exchange it. Remember, when you take it along to the dealer, to point out whatever you've had done, because whatever it is, it'll save the dealer or the next owner having it fitted. But whether it's an alarm, an immobiliser, data tag protection, whatever it is, bring with it the certificates to prove that it was fitted properly, because the next owner is going to have that to prove to their insurers that it's all been done properly. And if you've got all of that with you, that will, believe me, make a difference.
Thanks for that, Richard. Some good advice there. Well, I'm back with Pete and Jan, who are back with the Sprint. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
I liked it. I liked it very much, yes.
What about it?
Handles well, easy to ride, very, very, very punchy motor, very smooth, good brakes, good sound. I liked it. Very easy to ride.
Jan?
I quite liked it as well. Don't think the seat was as comfortable as the Honda, but it was nice. You could certainly travel on it. It sounded lovely.
Did it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of got everything then, really. Are there any bad bits that you don't like about it?
Not really, no.
Because it looks nice. In my opinion, I really like the front end of this bike. Yeah. I don't know whether it's, your favourite in that respect.
Yeah, I like the overall appearance of the bike. It's it looks the most modern. I like it.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised then.
Yeah.
Very surprised, yes.
Have you ever thought of yourself as a Triumph person?
Yes.
Good. Well, now we need to do a little bit of a kind of good and bad points on all of them. The VFR, can you remember that far back?
Can do, yes.
So good points to that.
Easy to ride, handled well. Nice, comfortable ride, yes.
Yeah. It was very comfortable for me. That was my favourite, I think.
Yeah, right. Bad points.
The brakes.
Would you like some time to think about that?
The brakes and the sound.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it didn't sound very nice.
Didn't sound very good.
Ducati, good points.
It's a Ducati, I suppose, is one of its good points. It looks nice.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Yeah, I was pleased to be on it, but not pleased to ride it.
Right, okay.
Disappointed, really, very disappointed.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to travel far on it. I wouldn't want to tour on it.
No.
Hard work, heavy clutch,
Yeah.
But
So we've covered the bad points then, basically. So, and we've obviously just done the Triumph, but good points on the Triumph.
everything really. I enjoyed everything. The riding position was good. The brakes were good. The engine was good.
Bad points?
None really. None really. I like this bike.
Okay.
I like this bike.
Well, we need to know which one you're going to get, but you know, obviously we need to go to Richard, who's going to give us a quick recap.
Okay, you two, having looked and tested, which will it be? First up, we have the Svelte ST2 from Ducati. As you rightly said, it is a beautiful looking bike. But do looks mean more than anything else? Is there something underneath the bike's looks that you fell for? Our second bike was the VFR. You said it was a handsome bike and made a point of the renowned comfort. Only the brakes weren't to your liking, but will they put a stop to this choice? Or will you decide on the Triumph, with its modern real-world styling and unique exhaust note, which you did say you liked? Will you be flying through Europe with Triumph this summer?
So that was our Richard with a brief recap. So put me out of my misery, which one is it going to be?
Well, we both like the Honda, the VFR.
Comfortable.
Very, very nice bike, but we've chosen the Triumph.
Really?
Yes,
Fantastic.
yes, but not perhaps this particular Triumph.
Right.
It's a bit tatty around the edges, needs a bit of TLC.
Yeah.
We might be prepared to spend a little bit more money and get a slightly nicer one.
newer
Right.
Slightly newer one.
Because this is the most expensive. Actually. This is 5.3.
5.3, yes,
Yeah.
which is still inside our price range.
Of course. So you'd allow him to go a little bit
A
above.
little bit.
Oh right. Okay.
It
Well
is a
then-
nice bike.
That's fantastic. So it's fair to say then that the Ducati is down and out, the Honda is high on the list, but the Triumph is triumphant. And just thank you, Pete and Jan, and have a safe journey home to Nuneaton. And
Thank you.
we'll see you next week for some more Used Bike Heaven.
Next week on Used Bike Heaven, we'll meet Kerry Hodgson. She currently rides a VFR 400, but is on the lookout for a sporty 600. We'll show her 3 very different bikes to find out which one she prefers. There'll also be more advice on buying used, another workshop tip from Gary, and I'll be reviewing another used bike.